this tutorial, we're going to look at doing some working drawings of the robotic arm. So starting off in the assembly, the quickest way of starting a design 2D drawing is to go up to the application button and go new, and then you want to create a drawing of the active model. So this takes it straight into the draft environment. You can specify which template you want to use or browse to go to other ones, and it's generally easier if you run the drawing view wizard when it starts. So as we open up, it opens the template and automatically assigns a view for you. If you want to change what that view is, you can either sort of go here and choose a view from the drop down, or if you wanted to sort of have the ISO view from a different direction, we can go into the drawing view layout, and from here you've got the same sort of views. You can choose other views to display at the same time, but I'm going to go custom, and I can use my viewing cube to get the orientation that I wish, and then when I've finished I can go close and OK. From there you can use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. This changes the scale on here, so you can specify an exact scale as a sort of standard, or you can set a value in here anyway. So I'm going to go half size, and I'll escape that. One thing that you may or may not need to change is that on the standard templates, you'll find that the default is first angled projection, and my preference is for third angle. So you come down here into drawing standards and change it. So if you want that to be your default, then you would need to go into the draft template and update it from there. So you may want, for this isometric view, you want to make it shaded, so we can put shading on, and then we'd need to update the view to show that, so you can see that the object is now shaded as per the assembly. And from here I'm going to create a parts list. So we go into the parts list command. You need to pick on the view that you want to link to, and from here you can choose that you want to auto balloon. You can go into properties here. So we want to look at columns. I don't want to see the author, so I'll delete that one. I may want to add in, say, material, and you just double click on that and it will put it in here. Otherwise it's single click and go add column, and depending on sort of how you want this display to be, you can sort of change the order of these as well. So once you've defined what that is, you can go OK. I want to sort of snap it into the top hand corner here. I would need to go in and locate background to be able to do that. So just going back to that parts list, I would need to go through that process again. So we can drop that and link it in there. As you can see, it didn't hold my settings, so I can come in here and go back to properties and just repeat what we just did. Okay, so that will update. You can also see that on our item number we've got quantity as well. That's obviously able to be changed. The balloons are all linked to a chained item here. Obviously not displayed, but it does give you the ability to move them all in the way that you want. And obviously you can sort of just pick up on here and move these around to space them if you want to adjust that. So as I said, no material, and if we save this draft file, and the reason I've done that is because I want to go into info, and if I go to property manager, that allows me to see the properties of all of the parts within the assembly. So if I wanted to add a revision, I could say each one is going to be starting at 1. So I can just go and select all that and Control V to paste that in. Likewise, if I want to see the material on here, I can go to columns. Generally, I'm not really interested in author or manager, so I can take those ones out, take out last saved by, and scrolling down I can find that material and go OK. So you can see that material has now come in. Obviously some of them are not relevant. We have the assembly files which don't have a material attached, so it's just going to ignore those. So now it's going back to the material table. You can choose whichever material you want. Again, I can go Control C and Control V. And as I said, these ones aren't relevant, so it's not affecting those. As you can see in here, you can also see that we have the display of that item as well. So that's easily managed. So when you've done that, you can go OK. And you see this grey box around the parts list now. That means that that is out of date. So if we do our update views, just like we did with the assembly, it will now update and show me each of the materials in here. So if I wanted to do some other views of this, I can create a new sheet. Double click in means that I can go into, it's easier to go into the background and choose the sheet that you want, because that adjusts the background and the sheet size at the same time. So you'll see if I go here, it's now changed the sheet to that as well. So to place those views again, we can go back to our view wizard. If you wanted to place the view of a different part, you can go browse and search for that. I just want to use the robotic arm as we have done before. And again, you can see that it's not the view that I'm after this time. So I can go and choose the front view, for example, and you can see that we've got that on there. You can also see that we have these grey boxes, grey corners, and that's indicating that the assembly is out of date. Not the drawing view, but the assembly itself. Obviously, we updated all the properties on there, and it's not transferred through. So if you want to, you can double click on here, go back into the assembly, and do a save. So that's just going through and updating all the details on each of the parts. And then we come back here, one or more views are out of date, update views. And obviously that wasn't the reason why we had the corners. So we can go into the drawing view tracker. So if you look at this, this actually tells you what is out of date. So obtain right access to the following documents, and open documents in order and update. So it gives you a clear indication of what is required. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to go through that process at this stage. So now I want to create some other views of this. So we can go principal view and choose the view that we have, and depending on which way you drag off, gives you the alternate views. So right mouse click when you've finished. You may decide that you don't want to see the hidden detail. So if we right mouse click on here and go to properties, and all are selected. So let's go down. So currently showing hidden edge style, and we turn that off and go update. And obviously you can see that that's updated automatically. The hidden detail has been removed. So from here, what we can do is we can add some sort of generic dimensioning on here. So we can go to smart dimension and go give it some sort of height. I'm just going to take it to that point there so you can sort of gauge sort of the size of it. And again, you may want to go from here to the center point. In that instance, it's probably easier to use the distance between dimension, because that way we can connect to key points quite easily and place those dimensions on there. You may also want to give something a little bit more detail. You may want to sort of look at this area, so we can go to the detail view and place a detail balloon on here, and then place it up here where there is space. So as you can see, that's sort of done a scale of its own. So 1:1, whereas this is half scale. And just some sort of generic assembly sort of commands there. Now if we go back to our main assembly, double click on this part down here, and then go again, we can new drawing of active model, and like we did before, we want to change our view. Let's look at the top view, and we can have this sort of quite large, and we can place this other view. Again, we've got first angle, so I'll escape out of there. As I say, you probably want to set this up in the template file so that you're not sort of restricted and get the wrong views by mistake. So we can now take our principal view and pull that off there. So detailing, you may want to add some centerlines. So you can do centerlines between two lines. You could do it by 2 points, depending on sort of what your scenario is. We have the ability to just do a center circle, so you can pick on there. Likewise, we can do bulk hole circles, and you've got options on here by center. So I could do one that comes to here, or I could do 3.1. So if I pick the 3 holes, you can see that it's given me my centers on there. So generally it's quite a good way of doing it. Likewise, I may want to give a sort of center on the start of the slots. So dimensioning, we can use Smart Dimension. I can pick on a line. As you can see, the text size is quite small, so I can just sort of go 2 times and put that in. So Smart Dimension gives me the ability to dimension sort of any element. So this is giving me an arc. I could go and change that to diameter, and then if I pull off over to the side here, you can see that it's actually getting that full diameter. Likewise, I can do the same on these ones here. I would also probably look at dimensioning or doing the centerline on these holes here. So that's the inner circle. So centerline between those two and those two lines. And then for the main part, you can put that in there. And yeah, that just sort of gives you a little bit more information. Smart Dimension again, we want to go on this one, leave it on radius, and I'll leave this somewhere around here. Now notice that automatic dimensioning will give you a inline text. So if I escape out of there and go into properties and under text, you can choose to have your text horizontal. And again, you may want to go into template and go into styles and add in a style for that in your template so that that is always there. So this is one of your styles. So if we went into here and leave it on dimension, ISO millimeter, and go new based on that one. I just call it a rad. And sorry, we need to go in and set that to be horizontal. So if I wanted to go back and dimension this, I can change my dimension style to rad, and that comes on there. So if I want to show this as a just an arrow coming down here, I need to start by moving the dimension outside, or the arrow outside, and then go into properties, and under lines and coordinates, I don't want to connect it, and then that just gives me this piece here. And then I want to add a suffix, so I can just add that in and close that out. Some other dimension styles that you may want to work with is the angular one. So if I click on here, I can either go up to angle or hit the A key, and then I've got the option of placing that to give me the angle of that line. Alternatively, I could do it from the center using the angle between dimension, but it's effectively the same thing. So then we can have a call out, and that call out, you want your call out text. I'm going to use a bit of detail, so 4 holes, and we want to use the hole size. So then when I link to this, you can see that we've got that. If I double click on it, you may want to add in a diameter symbol. So we've got special characters here. I'll add that before, so 4 holes. diameter 4, and just one or two other things on here. We can add a dimension on here. Depending on where you position cursor is where that dimension text is going to get placed. Finally, you can see that it's not really that well spaced. So if you've done a retrieve text, which is this one here, you can use this, but you want to arrange dimensions, stack one, and just select them, and then right mouse click, and you can see that it adjusts them all in nicely so it looks good on the drawing. So this just gives you some overviews on creating some 2D drawings, and hopefully it gives you some insight into some of the powers of solid edge drafting.